in your If a tornado, hurricane, or forest fire were to hit your community today, would you be prepared? If floodwaters rise or an earthquake shakes your world, have you identified the vulnerable residents in your community? And do you have a plan for evacuating them? For the year 2011, FEMA has declared disasters in all but 2 states. Michigan and South Carolina are the only 2 states that have escaped one of the 3 designations of disasters. Major disasters such as Hurricane Irene, emergencies such as the flooding caused by Tropical Storm Lee, or fire management assistance such as the wildfires burning in Texas. When a natural disaster happens, non-ambulatory and bedridden individuals in the community are the most vulnerable because evacuation is more difficult for them. There are an estimated 1.6 million Americans living outside of institutions that use wheelchairs or power chairs. There are no statistics available on bedridden patients living in their own homes. In the event of a disaster, these vulnerable individuals will need assistance in evacuation. Unfortunately, most community emergency preparedness teams do not even know where these individuals are located within the community. Disaster Plan Online provides the answer for community emergency preparedness. We suggest that you start by inputting facility information such as nursing homes, group homes, assisted living centers, hospitals, and other multifamily facilities in your community where persons with special needs are clustered. Then, when you input residents, they can be linked to those facilities. As you input residents, you'll be entering demographic information, physical features, and even a picture if desired. If the resident lives in one of the facilities you've entered, you will pick that facility. As you save resident information, it is encrypted with 256-bit encryption and sits behind a VeriSign secured website. Every effort has been made to guarantee the safety of this sensitive data. The emergency management portion of Disaster Plan Online identifies the residents in your community with special needs such as the inability to walk, communication difficulties, dependence on special medical procedures, and other types of special needs. In the event of a disaster, emergency responders have immediate access to the demographic information for each individual along with their particular need. The special needs portion of the resident input is the most critical. Sometimes a person will have more than one category of special need. For example, a person might use a walker for mobility and also be dependent on oxygen. By indicating the type of special needs, emergency responders and disaster teams will have the information they need to facilitate a strategic evacuation. You can even input notes to further explain a person's medical needs. When residents of the community have been entered, the Emergency Preparedness Management Team can create reports that identify residents with special needs. By choosing the zip code or zip codes, you can elicit a summary report which shows the number of persons in each category of special needs. For Emergency Preparedness Management, this report provides an overview or summary of the number of individuals within the community that have special needs. Its intended use is community emergency preparedness planning. A detailed report of special needs allows you to drill down to the specific individual and their address. For planning purposes, you would probably use the summary report. If you're tracking actual evacuation data, you might use the detailed report. Both reports provide management data needed to plan for an actual evacuation event. Now, let's look at the other side of the disaster planning and evacuation software, the actual disaster event. The software keeps track of multiple events even if they're occurring simultaneously in the same area of the country. To add a new event, click the Create New link and fill in the disaster event details. There are currently 2 levels of access for Disaster Plan Online, Planner and Responder. Only people with planner level access will be able to create a new disaster event. Once the disaster event has been created, you can then use the Evacuation tab to search for individuals within certain zip codes that need to be evacuated. In addition to searching by zip code, you can also filter for the type of special needs that you prioritize for evacuation. For example, you can filter for all bedridden individuals in a certain zip code. As individuals are evacuated, Disaster Plan Online tracks where they were relocated so that residents aren't lost in the system like they were after Katrina. In many cases, residents may be evacuated to a temporary shelter and then evacuated a second time. Disaster Plan Online keeps track of each relocation by both date and time of the relocation event. As residents are evacuated, Disaster Plan Online changes the color of the individual's name as an on-screen indication that an evacuation has been performed. This gives emergency responders a quick and easy way to assess their progress. Disaster Plan Online also integrates with Lifesaver app, an online medical record that is immediately accessible in the event of a medical emergency. Because many of the residents with special needs have medical problems, this level of tight integration allows disaster teams to focus resources appropriately. The emergency medical report from Lifesaver app looks like this. Special needs or medical alerts print at the top of the report along with a person's medical conditions. Emergency contact information shows emergency responders who to contact under emergency circumstances. The body of the report includes all of the information necessary for emergency responders to initiate appropriate treatment protocol. By having immediate access to information regarding diagnosed conditions, medications, and allergies, emergency personnel can make wise, life-saving decisions. In addition to the on-screen display of evacuation progress, you can print or view a report of the individuals that have been evacuated organized by disaster event. In each case, we track the relocation and build a statistical report. You can pull reports by zip code or multiple zip codes. You can view the overall evacuation progress by looking at a summary report such as this. This report shows at a glance the progress you've made. You also have the option of viewing the details of each resident as they were relocated from your community. After the evacuation has been completed and you want to return residents to their original location, you can view a report that shows all of the relocation information for each individual. Disaster Plan Online addresses the ongoing needs of any community. Planning for an actual disaster by being able to identify individuals within the community that need assistance in evacuation, and tracking an orderly evacuation as individuals are relocated within the community or to another community entirely. If a disaster should strike your community, are you prepared? You can be with Disaster Plan Online. Disaster Plan Online organizes your emergency preparedness teams to meet the evacuation and resource needs of individuals in your community. Call now for a personal demonstration.